first item regarding our labor negotiations, no action was taken. Regarding the second item, also regarding labor negotiations, no action was taken. Regarding the third item, we are currently still in process and will return to closed session at the end of the meeting. With that, I would like to welcome Lakeside Farms Elementary School for being here today. And I look forward to having Mr. Rosa come and present, as well as lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, we'll start with the pledge. We have 3 5th grade students who will take us through it.
Put your right hand over your heart as you begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share about Lakeside Farms. It is Month of the Military Child. We have 3 military students here and their families. These are 3 5th grade students. We have Rowan, Jamal, and Arya. I'll tell you their story in a little bit, but first we're going to dive into the boring part of the presentation, but looking at where we're at as Lakeside Farms. So we continue to grow. That's our motto, Lakeside Farms, and we're looking at different areas. Our goals, looking at continue to grow on the MAP score, which I'll show you in a minute, and then really thinking about connectedness to school, which ties to our students here tonight who have experienced our various programs at Lakeside Farms, and they've really found some success there, and then continuing to give our students access to the art, as you see in the room around you. We're really proud of our program that we built through our Prop 98 funds with having an art docent at our school and really giving the opportunity for students to showcase their talent that way. With that, we had an art show during our open house before spring break, kind of carrying off of our traditional district art show. So we were able to have every student have at least one piece in there and be able to show off to their parents and the community. So digging into some data, the charts you have on both charts work the same way. It's the 3-year trend for the last 3 winters with the maps. So on the far right would be this most recent year, winter of 26, and then going back to winter of 24, 3 years ago. So really to point out some trends here, we're right on the national norm piece. We've made growth from last year's cohort in almost all areas. If you look at these 2 charts, there's 12 different areas, 6 for language arts, 6 for math, and in 11 of the 12, we've made gains from last year's grade level to this. So that's really exciting as we are coming upon our testing season, that I really am confident we'll see some great results, and the hard work of our staff will really shine through with some great things we've done the last few years as a team. So this just gives you a quick visual that we're tracking well, we're trending well, and it really is a tribute to the hard work of the staff and of course how our students work hard for that. Our programs really would not be successful without our additional support. We have a fantastic Tosa and Carrie Seggett. We get her half-time. She does a phenomenal job diving in with staff, and most importantly, supporting students, and really helping to analyze student data and really a thought partner in next steps and what we can do to really push our students. Myrna is a community liaison. She's phenomenal. Not only is she bilingual, but she is just the right person to connect with families who really need that extra support within our community. We're really proud of our special ed growth as well. Alejandra Garcia is a big part of our team. We get her a small percentage of time, but the impact that she has on our school is really great, especially as we lead into future years with what we're trying to do with some of our most high need students, especially our SDC students. And then our counselors, we say counselors because we have a military counselor who supports students like our 3 up here, and then our school counselor as we really try to revamp and revive our PBIS program. The next piece here, we talked about Prop 28. You see the art in the room. That's really where a majority of our funds go for that. But really our student growth has been phenomenal, especially from special ed. I talked about that last year. I had some special ed students who came and shared their story. But really this year, our focus has been on UFly in K2, and our teachers, we had all but one three teachers out of our entire K-2 span who jumped on the early implementation of UFly, and it's really shown. So the graph up there just shows composite scores. It doesn't show you where they started, but I can tell you they've made, well actually it does, it says beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end. We're not quite to the end, but the best way to look at it is just to group the blue and the green, and you're looking at the overall percentage of students who have not only made gains, but are reading above their grade level as well. All right, next up, this is why we're here. So I'd like the three students to stand up. This is gonna be kind of a Q&A here. Each kid has a phenomenal story. I'll start here with Aria. She's the youngest of 4 children. I had the privilege of seeing and experiencing all 4 children, whether it's at the school or in the community, and she has just made incredible gains. She's found her way to find successes. And then we have Jamal in the middle. He came to us in 1st grade. 1st grade was rough, right? We had some challenges. Mom's smiling back there. We were in communication a lot, but we finally got what he needed. And his 1st grade teacher is actually in the back row, who did a phenomenal job connecting and just showing that we wanted him there. He made it, sometimes he didn't want to be in the classroom, but throughout that time, he really became connected. We weren't connected at first. Then, due to life of a military family and student, he went to North Carolina in 2nd grade. But then we got to get him back in 3rd grade, so across the country back to us, and he's just made phenomenal growth. It wasn't easy when he came back, but I mean, I've already told him this story quite a few times the last couple of weeks, but he's just done a phenomenal job of adapting and working through some challenges, and it's been fun to see that maturity. And then our 3rd student here, Rowan, he has an older sister. His older sister, things come pretty easy to her. She's very bright. I caught the tail end of her when she was at Lakeside Farms. Now she's thriving at El Cap, but Rowan is just living up to big sister, and the experiences that he's had and the maturity that he's shown has been really phenomenal. He's also a graduate of our IEP program. So he is a phenomenal example of someone who worked extremely hard. He had some pieces that we needed to connect, and through a team effort, he got what he needed. He's tracking on a 504 plan, and he's doing phenomenal things. So we worked hard with mom and team. I'm looking at the 5th grade teachers back there because we worked hard together, but Rowan's doing great things right now, and it's really because of the atmosphere, I believe, has really contributed to his success. So just a little Q&A. I'm going to start with Jamal because he's looking at me first. What's a challenge that you've overcome?
Challenge I overcome is
What was it like moving across the country and coming back?
having to make new friends and being with some people that I don't want to be with, but still got to be there.
All right, adaptability, well said. Aria, what about you? What's been your best experience at Lakeside Farms?
Having all of the teachers help me when I needed it, and having just a fun time with Lakeside Farms.
All right, so we like to have fun, that's good. And Rowan, tell me something that you've overcome as a student at Lakeside Farms.
Overcoming something, probably during my dad's deployment, that was like really hard because he was gone for like 2 years, I think, I forget. But the friends really helped me, and the teachers helped me like get through that.
Okay, did you have the opportunity to have support with Anchor for Life or any other peer students? Okay. All right, now let's end with this with you guys. What's one thing you're gonna look back upon Lakeside Farms when you're in high school 3-4 years from now? Anybody can answer that.
Probably all the friends I made.
Okay, fair enough. Jamal, what do you got?
All my teachers.
Okay. And you got 3 very proud teachers back there. What about you, Aria?
I was about to say both of them. So.
All right, okay. But we're just very proud of them, and I really wanted to highlight our military families and our students, Month of the Military Child, but getting to know these 3 students and their families has been really a privilege, and just watching the success, because there have been some bumps along the way, but really highlighting how they've overcome some challenges and really found success, and really just proud of them. So, thank you guys. The next piece here, this is hot off the press from the cooks who are in the room. This is just a 3-minute video just highlighting what this month is all about.
April is Month of the Military Child. At Lakeside Farms, we are a Purple Star school. We serve quite a big percentage of military students and families.
If you are a military child, can you please step forward? We're so proud of you and your ability to uproot and go with the wind. Keep on being rock stars, guys. Let's give them a round of applause.
A lot of our military kids are coming to our school, but they have no one that they know or no one they can really trust.
They sometimes feel scared and alone.
It was scary because I had to make new friends, practically make new everything.
One of the programs that we have is Anchored for Life.
Anchored for Life is a student club where kids help other kids feel welcome and strong.
We work together to build new friendships, learn leaderships, and support each other during changes, like moving to new schools or family members being deployed.
We practice important life skills like being kind, solving problems, and asking for help.
We help them by handing out kits, giving them tours, making sure that they know that we're here for them and it's not just them standing alone. The person who gave me a tour, whenever she saw me around school, she would give me a big hug and always remember my name, and that made me feel really special.
Our team leaders do an amazing job of running the program, and whenever we have new military students here, they are the welcoming hands and hearts that welcome them onto our campus.
Our goal is to help every student feel confident, connected, and ready to succeed here at Lakeside Farms.
They might still be worried, but they know they're not alone.
At our April Friday Flag Assembly, we read a poem that honors the strength of military children.
It's called The Dandelion, a military child.
The dandelion is the flower of military children. Why?
Dandelions can go almost anywhere and are very hard to get rid of. They may look simple but are strong and can live in many places.
Military children are like dandelions. They grow wherever their families go. They are strong and brave, their roots are deep, and they learn quickly in new homes.
They're ready to go on a new adventure, meet new friends, and explore new homes.
Military children learn about different people and places. They are kind, open-minded, and never give up.
They learn that home is where their family is and they can find friends anywhere.
They learn when one door closes, another one opens, full of new adventures, new friends, and new experiences.
They do an amazing job of making all military students feel welcomed, to feel a sense of great belonging here at Lakeside Farms.
We are Anchored for Life and we are here for you.
All right, so like I said, that's hot off the press. That was created last week during our Friday Flag, honoring our military students. Friday Flag is a weekly tradition where we honor students, but last week we were able to honor our military students and give them a little treat. So that's Lakeside Farms in a wrap. We're excited to wrap up the year and look for excitement and growth next year, but really the success of our school really comes down to the students, and hopefully that was showcased here tonight. So thank you for having us. Do you have any questions for me or three of our friends here?
Does anyone have any questions, comments?
Yes. My last teaching assignment was in Tierra Santa. It was called Sarah High School. They changed the name to Canyon something or other, whatever. And 1/3 of our population, and still, is military. You know, we had Miramar and all that area there, which is San Diego. And so I talk a lot with my kids, especially my seniors, because my seniors, we spend a lot of time the second semester looking at what I call the after senior year, college, military, some trade school, whatever, right? And just before I retired in June, and this happened a lot, but I can never forget this. There was an incredible young lady, a senior, and she wanted to go into art school and do that type of thing, we call liberal arts and so forth. So anyway, it's near the end of the year, and she pops in that morning, and she said, "Hey, Mr. K," that's what they used to call me. Going to Hawaii, hope to write to you sometime. So they were stationed at Pearl Harbor, right? So I saw that a lot. I know it's tough, kids, because I taught a lot of kids that were in the military. They're a little bit older, but they were always moving back and forth, and then to come back sometimes too. Mostly I would see them again, but we would correspond. I know it's tough, and parents, I know it's really tough, right? So thank you for your military commitment, and thank you for being who you are, and thank you, Principal Curtis.
Kids, thank you so much for being here. It was great to hear your experience at Lakeside Farms, and we're glad you love your teachers and Mr. Rosa and all the things you need to do. So thank you for being here tonight.
So I just wanted to highlight, so later on in the meeting tonight, we do have a resolution designating April and throughout our school district as Month of the Military Child. We do have over 450 military connected students here in our district. And so we are very appreciative for all that you guys do. We hope that we can continue to offer as many wonderful programs as we can, and just make sure that we're getting you guys the best possible education we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we are going to move into trustee reports. I will start with Jim Bennett.
Hello, good evening. A couple kind of sad notes. I know early this month we had a couple students and a parent struck by a car. I understand that they're still, they have a long road ahead of them, so just a lot of prayers going out to them, and we want to support them as much as we can. I didn't mention it last month, but also in February we lost a really, really great teacher, Ron Bayless. He was actually my next door neighbor. When I moved to Lakeside about 20 years ago, he was my next door neighbor, and obviously a great teacher, but just a great individual, great man, one of the kindest, gentlest men I've ever known. He was battling through Parkinson's, I believe. Moved to Tennessee about 10 years ago to be closer to his grandkids. So somebody that's really, really going to be missed in the community. Hope everybody had a great Easter. Easter was an amazing day for me as well. And then on another personal note, I'm adding a couple of property tax owners into the Lakeside School District. My daughters are going to close escrow on the house over here in Newcrest, so we'll get some more revenue for the district. That's it.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up Ron Bayless. He was my social studies teacher at TDS, so I was sad to hear that he passed. So thank you for bringing that up. He was a great man. A couple things I wanted to address. And thank you for also addressing the traffic issues. It seems as though this year we have been plagued with traffic issues. I got a call last night at 10 o'clock from a parent who lives right near Lakeview, and evidently their child was hit by a car of somebody speeding, and it was interesting because she brought the question forward to me of, Andrew, why is it that one side of Lakeview is 25 miles an hour, but the other side is 35 miles an hour? Well, that's an interesting question. So I'm going to approach the county on that, because it is strange. I mean, school zones are 25 miles an hour, and the fact that one side is and one side isn't doesn't really track for me. So I want to go and make sure that we look at that. And then I just want to bring forward, Laura, thank you for talking about the Military Child Month. That's fantastic. All of our service members and their families, I'm glad to honor them tonight. But we also have, we're going to declare Day of the Teacher, and we're going to declare Classified Employees Week as well. And of course, thanking all of our staff for their hard work. That's all for me.
I just want to remind everybody, Saturday morning is family friendly. The parade, Lakeside Parade. So we hope to see you there. And then tomorrow night through Sunday afternoon is the Lakeside Rodeo. I'm happy to say that I'm one of the sanctioned photographers. So if you see me there, wave. Glad to take a picture of you. And it's going to be exciting. It's selling out, but there are still some I forgot what day, there are still tickets though. And it's a great family event, and it's all about Lakeside. This is East County at its finest. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to all of our teachers and staff. I know it's a really busy time of year with testing and getting into the rest of the slide for third trimester here. And so I know it's a really busy time, so thank you for that. And yeah, I also look forward to going to the rodeo. We'll be volunteering on Friday, so hopefully some of you are going to be there. And then of course the parade Saturday, and then honoring our own is on Saturday night. And so lots of fun stuff this weekend. That's it.
For me, today is Admin Professional Day, so I do want to say thank you to Rachel for being our administrative professional. We could not do what we do without her, as well as your support for staff and the rest of the board. But for us especially, you keep our calendars straight, you make sure we're exactly where we need to be, and we really do appreciate all the work that you do for us. So, I do want to say again, piggybacking on Western Days Parade and the rodeo, if you are not already volunteering in the parade, for those up here, please make sure you're riding on the float for the school district. For the rodeo, I hope everyone has at least one volunteer shift that they're putting in. There is very much a need of volunteers still, whether it be in the snack bar or ushering or taking tickets. Stadium Association does so much for us that it's important that we all give back to them as well. So I hope everybody at least has one shift going this week. If you're looking at how to volunteer, they do have some on social media, but you can let me know and I can put you in touch with the right person as well. So, that will move us into public comment. We now have an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on any item described on the agenda. Do we have any public comment?
We do not have any public comment.
Okay, so we will move directly into presentations. We have a few tonight, so I'm going to start with F3 Law Firm, which is going to present their proposal to the board regarding services for the district. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. So glad I got to be here for that presentation. Warmed my heart. My name is Peter Fagan of Fagan, Friedman, Fullfrost, or what is now known as F3 Law. And we are an educational law firm devoted exclusively to representing educational entities. Just a little history, I guess I'll give, tell you a little bit about myself and then a little bit about the firm. I'm a farm boy from Iowa. I grew up on a farm raising cattle and horses. Went to University of Northern Iowa, which used to be the Iowa State Teachers College, where most of my sisters went as well. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. And then went to the University of Iowa Law School, graduated and got recruited to California a long time ago. And as you can tell by the color of my hair. And I've been out here in California ever since. I kind of fell into education law. I started doing business litigation when I got here, and after 4 years I knew that's not what I wanted to do. So I looked for a new job, and I saw an ad for a firm that said they did public agency law. I got the job, and the public agencies they represented were schools. So that's how I got connected. This was back in 1992. And so I've been doing education law ever since, and I'm so glad I fell into this career. It is a great legal career because you get to work with good people who are accomplishing great things and are trying to do things the right way. And in a lot of legal practices, you don't necessarily get to wear the white hat like we get to. So I really appreciate that. As far as the firm Fagan, Friedman, Fullfrost is concerned, in 2006, I and some of my fellow colleagues decided that we wanted to start our own firm. And so we started that, so it's been 20 years, it'll be 20 years in June, since we started our firm. There were 8 of us that started it with an idea of practicing education law in a different way. And so much so that we created the tagline, redefining education law, kind of a big dream. And we wanted to practice law as true partners with the leadership of school districts. and rather than just acting as hired guns, which sometimes attorneys are. And so that has been our mission from the very beginning. We started with, 8 attorneys on a dream and no clients. But the clients came very quickly, and we've since grown. We started with an office here in the San Diego County area and went up in the Los Angeles area. We grew to 6 offices around the state of California, and I think probably around 100 attorneys at that time. And now we have started to grow across the country. Now we have 11 offices around the country, 150 plus lawyers, all doing just education law. That's all we do. We are a firm that specializes in representing schools. The interesting thing, as many of you know, sounds like I get this question all the time. What do schools need lawyers for? And so it's a very narrow niche of clients, but it is a broad range of issues, as you know. And we have practices in students, special ed, and I'll mention that specifically. I saw the principal from Lakeside Farms, as well as a bunch of other people from Lakeside. And just fortuitously, last Friday, I was at our special education symposium, and I sat down at a table with people I didn't know, which is what I try to do, and introduce myself and start visiting. I was at a table of Lakeside people, and I said, well, I'm gonna I'll see you next week. So, and they were there for special ed training. So students, special ed, labor and employment, personnel, governance, leadership, charter schools, business facilities, construction, real estate, just to name a few of the areas. And so it's a broad range of practice. And after hearing all of that, you know, not one person can be an expert in all of those things. And so the way we try to practice as a firm is as a team. And we put together a team for a district that touches on all of those areas of specialty. You have one point of contact or 1 or 2 main points of contact, so that if one person's not available, you can get someone else. And then, once we find out what the issue is that you want legal advice on, or counsel on, or representation, then we connect you with someone in the firm who's really an expert in that area. And so the client relationship attorney kind of oversees that, but you get a true expert in whatever the field is that you might need legal representation. One of the things that we focus on in the SES, we call it the Special Education Symposium, is an example of one of the big trainings that we do statewide, and we do lots of webinars on a very large scale on related issues. But we've decided as true partners, we want to be able to provide a service, and sometimes that means we don't get to bill for our work. So I just want to go through very briefly what's in the folders. On the left-hand side, it's just a bunch of bios of people here in the San Diego office that would be available to work with the district. On the right-hand side is the more important stuff. The first one is self-explanatory. It's just about F3 law. The rest of them are what we call our one-pagers on specific topics that come up regularly with when we represent school district clients. So if we get the same question from 10, 15 different districts all around the state, that tells us, okay, there's a real need here. And so we put together a one-pager, and they're available all on our website, and it's basically free legal advice. The first one, navigating the gray haze of the Brown Act. Basically everything you need to know about the open meetings law is on this thing. I mean, if you get something really nasty, then pick up the phone and call. But put this in your top desk drawer and use it when you need it. Same thing, Public Records Act. Schools are getting crushed with Public Records Act requests. Again, pretty much everything you need to know is right there. Evidence model, safeguarding your district with the evidence model when you're doing for investigations. If you're doing an investigation, this provides an outline. If you're doing an in-house investigation, you don't want to farm it out to someone. And I won't go through every one of them. Employee tip sheet, employee discipline tip sheet, sample board policy on artificial intelligence, and a whole host of other things. They're just examples of things that we put together that are available for our clients, and really even for our non-clients, because they're available on the website. 2 other things that are in here that I specifically should mention. One is this half-pager, which is AI transforms learning, smarter classrooms ahead. There's lots of controversy about AI, but the bottom line is it's here. And we have been asked, our firm was asked by Q and AI educators and the organization called ISTE. Q and ISTE are two national organizations. AI Educators is a company that works with AI in education. They asked us to put together a curriculum and for educators on the appropriate use of AI in schools. So that's what we did. There's a QR code here that will get you to the AI educators in the curriculum. It's for teachers on the appropriate use of AI and the positives and the negatives and the pitfalls that you might run into. The second one is this flyer. It's more than a one-pager. And the board members, you might want to take a look at this. I'm not saying there's any problems because I don't know. But I will tell you, one of the things that I do is I do a lot of governance and leadership work. I work with boards, superintendents, and cabinets. And when I get called in to do a governance workshop, if it is not immediately following an election, which I encourage everyone to do one after an election. If there's a change in the leadership team, there's a change in the group dynamic, and it's good to have a governance workshop to reset and make sure you're all working together. But when, other than those regularly scheduled ones, I get called into a lot of really messed up situations where people are at each other's throat. There's some people can't stand others, and I will tell you the most common problem or allegation is a breach of confidentiality. That someone that is involved in closed session has breached confidentiality, and which is a violation of the law, and it's gotten back to the rest of the board, and they're upset about it, and they want someone to come in and basically mediate the dispute and see if we can get people back on the same page. As a result of having to do that so many times, we put together this 4-pager on confidentiality, so about the legal requirements for it in your roles as board members. So those are just examples of the training materials that we do, but we do workshops on whatever a district might need. And so if there is a need from a particular department and it's something that you would like to have training on, that's what we do. We see that as part of our partnering with a district to resolve their problems before they become big legal issues, because those things can cost a lot of money. Where if you do a training up front and get your people doing things the right way, let's say special ed, for example, how to create a defensible IEP. So a defensible IEP is one that's going to provide faith to the student, and if you get challenged on it, you're not going to be, you will have followed the steps and you will have created an IEP that should withstand legal scrutiny. And that will help resolve or stop many due process hearings. And so that's just an example of one of the things that we do in the training. And so I think I've spent enough time on that. Other things that I've mentioned, a lot of practice groups, Title IX experts, investigations. If you need outside investigators, we do that. Charter schools, from the authorizer perspective as well as dependent charters. Right. We have a whole team of people that do that. And then, as I said, we practice as a team. So if we were to work with you, we would put together a team of probably 3 or 4 people initially, maybe 5, that would have experience in all the different areas and who would be points of contact. And then the way we operate is, rather than have to bill you for us getting up to speed, we always create a get-to-know-you day, or an orientation day is what I call it. And we will bring our team down here to meet with superintendent, maybe board president, and administration to get up to speed on whatever the legal issues are that you might need help with. And so we do that at our own expense, and that way we get up to speed so that when you call us with an issue, let's assume that you decide to have a contract with us for legal services. You don't call us with something and we have no clue what you're talking about because we have not been involved and we have to spend a lot of time getting up to speed. We do that in the orientation day. So, and that's another example of the way we try to work and partner with our clients. I do have to also say it's Administrative Professionals Day. I know you've probably worked with Lisa, and there's no way I can do anything that I do without Lisa running my life. And so, and the other thing that I wanted to mention as a result of being here early, I'm so glad I was, is that I live in Oceanside. Also, I was going to say a military impacted school, but I liked the terminology that I heard here, military connected school. It just has a much nicer ring to it. And just a little history, I've been doing education law now for 30 plus years. So when something resonates with me or I have a passion for it, and I certainly do military schools, I try and do something about it. So I have probably held 4 or 5 different meetings now statewide with what I used to call military impacted schools. I will now call military connected schools, because sometimes they have different issues. And when there's changes in administration and changes in budget that impact those schools differently than your run-of-the-mill K through 12 school districts. And it's great to have superintendents, they may be from Northern California, Southern California, out near Nevada or on the coast, but they're all dealing with military-related issues. And I've created this scenario, bringing everybody together for a 2-hour luncheon, and we put together an agenda of what are some of the military-related issues that are impacting your schools that you want to talk to some of your peers about. And so I haven't done one of those in the last year or so, but certainly open to doing it again. And it kind of ties right in with the focus on training that we try to do as a firm to really partner with our clients. So I think I've hit everything on my notes, so I will open myself up for questions of any kind.
Anybody have questions? Comments?
Do you all represent any San Diego districts?
Oh, yes. One of our first original offices, we opened with an office in San Diego County and Los Angeles. And I'd have to check, but I would bet that we represent at least 30 to 35 of the 42 districts in San Diego County, and have since day one, which is almost 20 years now.
And so all the lawyers in the San Diego firm, that's right, right? Their sole discipline is educational law. Is that what I heard?
All the attorneys
all
in
the
the
offices,
entire
I should say.
firm, 150 plus lawyers, all we do is education law. Now they're spread over 11 offices. The San Diego office has about 25, maybe getting close to 30 lawyers now. So the San Diego office covers all of the areas of legal need for a school district, but sometimes we have someone who is a true national expert, and they may be in our Bay Area office. And if you have that type of issue that needs that type of talent, we loop those people in.
And
because we practice as a team, and if you get the whole firm.
How many school districts do you represent in San Diego County?
I just was responding to that last question, at least 30 to 35, maybe more.
I think it's, okay, thank you.
Of the 42, I think there's 42 districts in the county.
I think mine is more to cabinet. What we're looking at, is that a full switch? Are we looking at departmentally? What's the idea?
Honestly, at this point, we're looking more for HR initially, but I think that we're definitely open to any and all services moving forward. Just HR was the department that we're looking for new representation.
And I should say that many of those districts have multiple firms, where we might do, some of those districts, we do everything from A to Z, and many of them, they have us for HR or special ed, or maybe 2 or 3 things, and somebody else is doing the other work. So, and I think it's always good to have more than one firm on your bench, because there may be times that you need to get a second opinion. Or if one firm is handling, say, an employment matter that needs an investigation, you don't want the same firm handling the case that actually does the investigation, so you need to call somebody else. So, and we're very comfortable working whatever that situation might be.
I appreciate you coming out and giving us 411 on everything.
All right. Well, thank you. You all have my card. It's in there, and I left one more of those packets over there if anyone needs one. Look forward to hearing from you, and if you do have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Okay, next on the presentations, we have Dr. Lynn Spear presenting on the Amplified Desmos math curriculum.
Okay, switching gears to math. So exciting. So tonight I'm going to share with you our journey with our middle school math teams towards the adoption of a new middle school math program. Giving you some context because this was not what we would call a traditional pilot where we brought many options that teachers would select from to try. This was somewhat of a non-traditional pilot in that our experience with the Desmos math program started actually during the pandemic. And because our students were in distance and hybrid learning during that period of time, the math curriculum that we had was not really a great program for student interaction virtually. And so our teachers were looking for something to enhance the math curriculum that we were using at that time, so students could interact more with math from home on their computers during distance learning. So because we've had a long-term relationship with Math Transformations, we leaned into that relationship and worked with them to look at options that our math team could supplement our program with. And the team decided to supplement with an online tool called Desmos. At that time, Desmos was just an online graphing tool, a free online graphing tool. So it was a great free addition or supplement to our instruction at that time. So as it turned out, teachers and students found a lot of value in using the Desmos tool, particularly the features that gave students immediate feedback on their problem solving, and teachers also got timely feedback from the tool on student performance and their instructional needs. So then in somewhere around 21, 22, the Amplify Education Company bought the Desmos graphing tool and put their expertise on curriculum together with the Desmos tool and created the Amplify Desmos math curriculum. So once that became an actual curriculum, our math teachers wanted to pilot it or try it out. So at that point, we became an official pilot where we purchased all the materials that were provided. Sorry, we didn't purchase them. Amplify, when we pilot, provide us with the materials generally for free or a certain amount of materials for free. So we piloted the program beginning in the 22-23 school year, but at the same time, the State Board of Education was reviewing math curriculums to create a new updated list of state board adopted math programs. So as it turns out, while we were piloting Desmos, it was also reviewed by the State Board of Education and did get onto the list of state approved math programs. So stars aligned in our favor and we really appreciated the program, and so the recommendation from our math teachers was to bring this program forward to the board for adoption as a new middle school math program. Amplify Desmos Math is a comprehensive middle school math curriculum built on the platform. It utilizes interactive technology to create engaging and rigorous learning experiences designed to foster deep conceptual understanding of mathematical discourse. So in working with teachers over the course of the last few years to look at the program, these are some of the benefits that the program advertises, but we found that these were also benefits that our teachers appreciated. So the program is active and engaging, it focuses on deep conceptual understanding, there are a lot of opportunities for problem solving and critical thinking, it's adaptive and allows for differentiated instruction based on student needs. It gives teachers real-time feedback. When students are working in the Desmos platform on the teacher's computer, they can see what every student is working on and how they are progressing, so they can also use it as a tool to track and check in with individual students. And it's also standards aligned, which is very important. In our district, our teachers, when I surveyed them, specifically highlighted the interactive nature of the lessons, combining the interactive technology with direct instruction and then student practice opportunities. They also appreciated the visual components. The way the tool works, you can really see math kind of in a 3D way on your computer and manipulate it and see what would happen, what happens if I change my graph, and what does that mean for my data. So there's a lot of interactive components and visual components. It's also very engaging for students, and again, gives out those opportunities. The program will give students immediate feedback, and then teachers can kind of look in to see what is happening. Teachers also appreciated the adaptability of the program. It has a lot of accessibility features to support student learning and student collaboration, and it's also very user-friendly for both students and instructors. So with any program, not only are there benefits, but sometimes we identify challenges that we try to mitigate. So one of the challenges that our teachers identified about Desmos Math was that they felt that there were not enough built-in writing and note-taking opportunities. So the solution that we created for that was that our math teams evaluated the workbooks that were provided by the program, and then they also created their own workbooks. So one year we used the program workbooks, and then last year they worked and created their own workbooks. After trying both, they have decided that they actually prefer the workbooks provided by the program, but I think that was still an awesome exercise that we went through, because they thought, you know, we think maybe we can make something better, and then after they did it and tried it, they said, no, actually, now we appreciate the curricular workbooks more, because it does do some things that we weren't able to do. And then again, paper practice opportunities. One of the things that we want to make sure we are doing is use those workbooks, because we do want our students to feel comfortable using technology to support their math instruction, but we also want to make sure that they are able to do good old-fashioned paper to pencil math as well. So teachers are balancing the use of the program while also providing students with opportunities to do good old-fashioned paper to pencil math, face-to-face collaboration with their peers around math problem solving. And so when we polled our teachers at the end of last year, their feedback was that 100% of them reported that they were satisfied with the curriculum, and 100% of them, these are our middle school math teachers, recommended that we bring the program forward for adoption to the board. One of the reasons why we waited until the end of this year is because our contract with our current adoption CPM actually ends this year. So we would have been looking at either renewing with them or moving to something different, and our recommendation is that we move to the Desmos Math program. So that is our recommendation. And in terms of next steps, as you know, we like to provide a parent preview period for any curriculum that we are adopting. So we have a letter that we're going to be sending to all families on Friday, is our plan. The dates are flexible, but as of right now, our plan is to send it out on Friday, and then for the next 2 weeks, we will have an open period for preview, and we'll have 2 ways parents can preview. We will actually have the materials set up that they can come and look through and touch and feel and see for themselves in the front conference room. And we also have, because it's an online program, we also have a sheet that will go out with our letter of information where they can access some of the lessons online and try them out for themselves that way. So we'll have 2 ways that they can preview. Then we provide parents with a Google survey. So when they come into preview, we ask them to identify themselves and then tell us what they thought about the program. So once we do that preview period, my goal would be to come back at our May board meeting, bring a report to you with this information, the feedback that we got from parents, and bring it to you for a final adoption on May 14th. Any questions?
Price-wise, is it comparable to what we have been having? Pretty much apples to apples?
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. Yes. All right, any other questions?
No, just thank you for addressing the fact that this is replacing CPM, because at first I thought, I remembered back when we were supplementing the two, I'm going, what, are we still doing that? It doesn't seem like we should do that, so, okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, the next presentation will be Mr. Gergens. We'll present an update on our behavior plan.
Thank you. And I'll step to the podium and ask Principal Price from Lemon Crest and Dr. Hardman from PBS to join me in this presentation. And I want to start the board in surveying the community and in surveying staff members. Behavior rose up as a challenge point and something that we needed to address in our district. And that's what we're here to do tonight, is to review the board resolution about behavior, and then also to talk about our efforts, not only with data, but also from a couple of schools with the work that we've done. So. Wanted to start off reminding everyone about the board resolution. The Lakeside Union School District Board of Trustees is dedicated to upholding a safe, respectful, and effective learning environment for all students and staff. Ongoing and increasing severity of behavioral infractions and disruptive conduct have increasingly impacted classroom safety, teacher morale, and the overall educational experience for all students in Lakeside schools. Board acknowledges the need for clear, firm, and enforced disciplinary standards to address inappropriate student behavior while continuing to offer compassionate support for students facing underlying behavioral challenges. And the active engagement of parents, guardians, and families is essential in addressing extreme behaviors, supporting student academic growth, and forming meaningful partnership between home and school. So that was our resolution, and the board declares its commitment to classroom discipline, family engagement, teacher and employee support, and adopts the following expanded measures to be implemented in Lakeside schools. And this is the follow-up to the resolution. So board resolution, the number 1 and 3, the number 1, the enforcement of clear and consistent disciplinary procedures, and number 3, the integration of discipline procedures with student and teacher supports. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Principal Price to talk about the work that she and her staff have done at Lemon Crest Elementary School. Sorry, turning the slides up.
Hi, everybody. So I think everybody has a copy of this. Sorry the font is small. I should have brought magnifying glasses. But good evening. I'm here to share an update on our PBIS implementation at Lemon Crest and how we're strengthening both our prevention and our response systems to support student behavior and school planning. First, prevention is our priority. We focus on explicitly teaching and modeling expectations, recognizing positive behavior, and building strong relationships. We use our adopted SEL curriculum, second step, to provide students with direct instruction from teachers and staff in problem solving, emotional regulation, and identifying emotions, just to name a few. We have a full-time counselor and an additional counselor that's at Lemon Crest on Fridays to teach class lessons on having a safe body, bullying prevention, calming strategies. We also do regular grade level gatherings with myself and the counselors, monthly all-school assemblies to emphasize our big goals for our kids, which are to learn, to stay safe, and to have fun. And our Lions know that we can always achieve these goals by following ROAR, respect, on task, always safe, and responsible. I just realized that Lakeside Farms also has ROAR, so I was like, wait, don't forget that and get mixed up. But we have clear and consistent systems so our staff know what to do and feel comfortable and confident knowing what to do for the variety of behavioral needs that we have at Lemon Crest. The paper that you have is our school-wide unexpected behavior flowchart, so that way all staff respond in a consistent way. The behaviors are categorized as minor or major. Minor behaviors are managed in the classroom through reteaching, interventions, logical consequences, with the ultimate goal, keeping students in class and learning. Major behaviors involve admin support, documentation, communication follow-up, based on the severity and the frequency. Another effective system that we have in place is our walkie system of support. All of our teachers, all of our staff members now have walkies. If the classroom strategies have been exhausted, staff can call for immediate assistance. I'm doing this, but it's more like this. Immediate assistance from me, from the counselors, from any other support staff who are available to quickly de-escalate situations, quickly arrive, I want to say, to de-escalate situations, support the student, and maintain safety and instruction for all of the students in the class. I do want to note that at times our kids may need more intensive support. In those situations, we may temporarily relocate a class to safely support a student in crisis. Our priorities are always safety, de-escalation, and minimizing disruption of learning. We work closely with district partners, including special education, student services, our district leadership, and I am very grateful, and I can speak for my staff, we're very grateful for our strong collaboration in supporting our students and staff. Overall, our school approach to discipline focuses on teaching and reteaching skills, not just the consequence piece, which is part of the balance. Students may experience loss of privileges or reflection, but we also emphasize corrective actions, like practicing replacement behaviors and building their coping strategies. Through restorative practices, students reflect on the impact of their words or their actions. They repair harm and rebuild relationships, keeping them connected to their school, or to their class and their school community, which is really important, at the same time of holding them accountable for their words or actions. And finally, kind of to wrap everything up, we focus a lot on celebrating the positive or the expected behaviors that we want to see in our kiddos. We use positive office referrals as one of our school-wide incentives. This month, students who earn a positive office referral will join me for a blind bag opening, which I'm very excited about. We're continuing a culture that recognizes and celebrates students' positive behavior and their improvements, which I think is important to note. Overall, our PBIS focus remains clear. It's prevention, consistency, balance, and support so that every student can feel safe, joyful, and successful at Lemon Crest. So that was kind of an overview of the unexpected behavior flow chart that you have. We'll open it up for any questions.
Nurses detail, thank you.
Yeah, I really like your flow chart.
Thank you. And I do want to say, this is not straight from my brain onto paper. This is a culmination of previous work that was done at Lemon Crest and things that I added to it. We had a lot of staff input. We review this every year. Well, every year since I got here, I review this with staff and like we tweak where we need to tweak. So that way it's a living thing that we edit it as we need to meet our students' needs.
And everybody has, like, this is somewhere where we get to, or do they just, like, like new staff has it?
I mean, it takes a while.
I know.
It takes a while. Yeah, I mean, I try to make it as visual, I'm a very visual learner, as visually clear as possible, that essentially we're starting with positive prevention, lots of recognition of the positive things, giving the kiddo some time to regulate. I talk a lot with my staff about regulation before consequence or even regulation before reflection, because if they're in that headspace where they're seeing red and they can't even identify that in themselves, they're not in that headspace to be able to say, you know what, I should stop and take a break, or I should go count to 5 and take a lap around the building. So, and then categorizing the teachers, I mean, by now in April, they've had lots of experience with this, categorizing the behaviors, but I wanted to make it really clear for newer staff and just to review with staff on an ongoing basis, ideas that they can do as far as intervention, consequences in the classroom, SEL check-ins, and then once it flips to a major, or sometimes unfortunately it is an immediate major behavior, some of the things that I do on my end, because I want to be really transparent with my staff too, that they're not coming to the office and getting a lollipop and heading back to class. So we're all working really hard to support our students, again, with the big variety of needs and strengths that our kiddos have. So, and I think this living document is helpful in that process.
And Nicola Tierra del Sol, here's their PBIS plan. And Dr. Hartman. And should I put up the chart? Okay. Well, for every type you've analyzed, okay, that's perfect.
So thank you, board. My behavior, or our behavior flow chart and our PBIS framework is going around. I am very proud to share with you an update of all the work that TDS has been doing to create our PBIS framework, as well as our student discipline system, GLOW, and how that works directly with our board's commitment to safe, structured, and supportive learning environments. So at TDS, our PBIS framework is built around a simple but powerful structure. It is teach expectations, acknowledge positive behavior, and hold students accountable. So the board emphasizes the need for clear, firm, and consistently enforced disciplinary procedures. And at TDS, we have met this through our GLOW discipline flowchart, which clearly defines what behaviors are classroom managed versus office managed, a structured progression from minor 3 with me behavior versus major 1 and done behaviors, and then consistent expectations for documentation, parent communication, and follow-up. So this ensures that students experience consistency across classrooms, staff have clear guidance and support, and accountability is fair, transparent, and aligned school-wide. So what you're looking at is a lot of the work that we started in our culture and climate committees with our partnership with SDCOE this year. And we have a culture and climate committee at school. And then we also share that with our leadership team. And then after some tweaks and some conversations, then we share that in our staff meetings. So the work that you see in front of you is numerous revisions of not only what we came up with in culture and climate, but also getting staff feedback, understanding staff's thought process as far as, okay, I understand that I have this Google sheet. Sometimes I don't need a referral. I just need you to help me with the student in the class. And so we've been able to kind of create something between 3andMe and office referral, which is if a teacher needs extra help in their classroom, they can just say, hey, I need some behavior support through a Google Doc. It comes directly to either Ms. Macias or Ms. Courtney's phone, and we can go straight to a classroom just to provide extra behavior support within the classroom instead of removing that student for the classroom period. The resolution also calls for empowering staff to maintain safe and orderly classrooms. So our system supports this by providing clear protocols for intervention and escalation, and using tools like behavior logs, our behavior management systems, and referrals to monitor behavior. Teachers are not left to manage behaviors alone. Our system emphasizes shared responsibility and responsive support. And what we're constantly working on is getting feedback from teachers to see if that we're on the same page as far as the way that consequences are given. One of the things that we have heard from teachers is that they feel like some of the consequences we give, they want meatier consequences, like heavier consequences, but we also want to share the importance of restorative conversations and teaching them what GLOW means in and outside of the classroom. And so what we're working on right now is trying to find a balance between what teachers feel is comfortable as far as a consequence versus the actual teaching of what we want to do with GLOW as far as them repeating, like learning those behaviors and what they look like in and out of the class. At TDS, discipline is not just reactive, it's instructional and restorative. Students engage in GLOW reflection sheets and restorative conversations. We are working on our Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports. We have some in place, but we know that we need to get stronger in that. We're currently applying for a PBIS distinction, and we're only going for silver this year because we feel like we have a strong Tier 1 system, but we are really working heavily on our Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports to make sure we have support across the system. And our goal is to ensure students learn from their behavior and not just experience the consequence. We also prioritize a very strong relationship with our families. Staff are expected to contact parents and document communication. We provide weekly updates. We do a lot of behavior assemblies, crew challenges, crew assemblies, and ongoing communication. And when we have issues with students, parents are included in that intervention plan and accountability conversations as well. When we talk to students about how to GLOW, especially for referral issues, we have parents either on the phone or parents in the office with us so that they can talk about how their students are going to GLOW, our expectations at school, but they also talk about the GLOW expectations at home as well, and how we're going to partner together with any consequences or restorative plans that we have. We use data-driven decision-making by tracking behavior through Infinite Campus and Jupiter Grades. We use that data to refine our supports, our interventions, and our expectations. We also constantly use our TFI inventory, which is basically kind of like a PBIS checklist on if we're meeting all of our goals and when we know that there's something that is missing, we are consistently updating that action plan. So right now our action plan is including more classified staff in GLOW. We know that all of our teachers and our students, a good majority of our students know what GLOW means, but when we were working through our TFI, we realized that like our classified members, that means our campus supervisors, our aides, even our custodians, our kitchen aid workers, they don't necessarily know what GLOW means. And so as they're passing out GLOW tickets, we want every single adult on campus having conversations with our students about how they can GLOW and what that looks like. And then finally, our why is really through proactive culture through PBS. What makes our system strong is that we are not just worried about discipline, it is about our culture, and that is really what we're working on heavily. We proactively build expectations through crew lessons and assemblies. We do minute and history lessons that build empathy and awareness, and we have student recognition systems, not only just our principals list honor roll, most improved, but we're also focusing on GLOW awards, positive referrals, and incentives. So students are not just told how to behave, they are taught, recognized, and supported in meeting that expectation. So in alignment with the board's resolution, TDS has built systems that are clear and consistent, supportive and restorative, data-driven and accountable, and rooted in strong relationships with students and families. And we are consistently trying to make sure that we better that program as much as we go. We know that student behaviors ebb and flow. We are having an absolutely dream year this year. And so we are still constantly putting things in place just in case things change. But we always want to make sure that we're ready for every single student that walks into our campus.
Any questions for Dr. Arce? Thank you all. And I think it's obvious why I asked a couple of principals to come and explain what's going on. They're amazing, doing great work at their sites. Again, staff authority and classroom safety. A lot of professional development has been provided to staff and will be continuing to provide to staff to help them empower their growth and how to handle the behaviors. So we listed the trainings that were offered this year, and then plans for obviously continued trainings along those lines. The parent engagement and partnerships, I thought the ladies did a great job explaining. We also want to highlight our PK program, our Partnership and Quality Education program, our positive parenting programs as well, that have been here at the district office through Jewish Family Services, and then continued community resource partnerships, and our behavior team, which you all got a chance to hear from them earlier this year. The review and accountability, the PBIS teams meet regularly. They review site data, determine school-wide focus activities. The behavior data is currently being shared with the community per the resolution, regularly at school site council and safety meetings. Also included weekly newsletters and the timely safety notices that we are committed to providing our parents as well when there are incidents on our campuses. Student supports, Wellness Together is a fantastic resource for us. And I did include their presentation. It's pretty lengthy, but I just wanted to point out, you can see from August 2025 to March 2026, almost 5,000 student support interactions, supporting our students, again, with whatever crises they're dealing with and making great choices. And you can also see there's a lot of data in the report. Wellness Together is provided for us. So, and that's at all of our sites. Then finally, our data so far for the school year. We had talked about the feedback that the board had received about multiple relocations in some sites and the challenges that were being faced. I wanted to give you the most recent data that we have, and I apologize in advance. It's hard for me to see and probably very hard for you to see down there. But we're at a total through, for the school year of, it doesn't look like it's mapping correctly. You can see each of the school sites, how many we had, and I can't do the math quickly, sorry about that, I thought I had it correctly. 3, 4, 14, 35, 40 should be that total there. 40 relocations for our entire district up through the end of March prior to going on spring break. And again, as Principal Price mentioned, those are, you know, temporary while we're addressing a major issue going on. Suspension data, and again, these are through, it actually, Dr. Fernandez and her team put these together, and it does take a moment to make sure that the Infinite Campus reports are correct and things like that. So we're always a little bit behind on our data, but we do finish up. But you can see the amount of suspensions. These are out of school suspensions at each of our school sites. And Tierra del Sol, like Dr. Hardman said, has really been focusing on addressing student behaviors without sending home, and yeah, very proud of those numbers. And then our 24-25 dashboard, just want to remind everyone, this is the district dashboard for suspensions. And so we're considered in the green area, red, orange, yellow, green, blue being the top. And our current, as of last year, our current suspension landed us in the green area, which is a positive spot to be in terms of our suspension rates at all of our school sites across the district. Board actions, we had our special board meeting in January. Board has also done policy and alignment specific through the resolution, added the resolution to our board policies, things like that, to make sure that we're responding to the needs of staff and students in our community in terms of discipline and behavior. And finally, just a comment, our district remains committed to promoting safe schools and supporting students and staff. So that concludes my report regarding behavior and specific to the resolution. Any questions from the board?
Questions?
Yes, sir. I have a few different things for you. Sorry. So, you know, as kind of the one who initiated this process for the district, I'm really grateful for our staff who are helping implement it. I do have some overarching, you know, follow-ups and things I want to just ask you about, because, you know, I still get feedback obviously from parents. I still hear different things that I want to ask you about. One of those is kind of overarching is, you know, we made a lot of these board policy changes that a lot of some of the language that I used to put into that board policy was provided to me from teachers who are seeing different needs, and so we made some of those changes. One of the concerns that I have, and again, this is not to denigrate the hard work, it's to the accountability part, which is kind of our role when we do pass a policy, which is, you know, how can we be assured that when we do the board policy and then we make the subsequent regulatory change, that it's flowing through the system? Because the language that was put into board policy was deliberate and had specific outcomes to be designed around. So how are we going to ensure that that policy is going to be pushed through the system? And I get system change takes time, so I want to recognize that, and kind of uplift that point. But I just think that it's important that I understand how that system change will flow. And by the way, I think staff should know how that will work too. So do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, great question, Andrew. It's one thing for the board to respond to the community, and then to give me as superintendent the mandate to address this, and how are we making sure? I would say through reports such as these, feedback from staff, from the principals to share. We have weekly leadership meetings, and we've reviewed the board resolution as a group and talked about our actions. And quite honestly, like I chose 2 of our outstanding principals. We share a lot in these meetings. Myself and Natalie, we always strive to be able to have best practice conversations and honest, where this isn't I'm trying to one up another school or something like that. This is okay. Here's the resolution. Here's what we're, again, being completely honest and forthright with you. When I'm on campuses, because I know one of the concerns that we heard was about the timeliness of the interventions. When I'm on campuses and when Dr. Winspear is on campuses, we tell the principals, just because we're meeting doesn't mean you're not doing your job. And I can tell you, I don't know the last time I was at Lemon Crest that Principal Price didn't leave to go address an immediate behavior issue. The ongoing conversations that we're having with staff that Dr. Hardiman alluded to about reviewing data, the fact that these documents and all these things are living, breathing documents that staff have great input on, and that staff all need to know about, as well as our families and our parents and things like that. So that was the goal, I think, of this presentation, is to show the efforts that we've done. Can I stand here before you and say we have no behaviors in Lakeside we've taken care of them? I couldn't, I'd be lying. This is going to be something that we have to continuously focus on, continually talk about best practices, continually provide additional trainings and supports. But that accountability measure there of it being a focal area is absolutely there. And I'd love to be able to continue to provide additional reports to the board in terms of our efforts.
Thank you. The other question kind of I have, it's on the suspension front. And it's a concern that I have, and I just want to explain to you my thinking on it, and it could be flawed, but when you have a dashboard that rewards decreasing suspensions, and it's used as a tool sometimes to correct behavior, I have concerns that and again, I don't know if this is true because I'm not there every day, so let's be clear about that point. Is that my concern is that the school, our district is rewarded from the state limiting suspensions when it can be used as a corrective tool. So when we're talking about like meteor, I like that term that Dr. Hardiman brought forward. Is that the meteor thing that teachers are searching for that you've heard? Or is it other forms of discipline that teachers are searching for? I'm trying to just understand it, because at the end of the day, and I don't know if this term is appropriate at this point in time anymore, but in-school suspension, I don't know if that's a real thing anymore. It was when I was in school. And so I'm just trying to wrap my head around this incentive structure that the state is providing us, which obviously I'm clearly saying I don't agree with. And then also, though, how we're balancing that with the demand that we're being asked to see from teachers. So do you have any thoughts on those things?
And to that point, Board Member Hayes, there are some districts that when you look have 0 suspensions. And when I've done WASP studies and communication with them, I've said, because we don't get to decide in Lakeside what a suspension is. We actually follow education code, and it's very clear, education code 48900, what is a suspendable offense. And so this is truly a reflection of decreased amounts of those those education codes being violated. Because quite honestly, when a child does a certain behavior and it warrants a suspension per ed code, they're getting suspended. Principal Price and I spoke a lot about teachers can also suspend from their classroom, and that was one of her big goals, was make sure that they're addressing behaviors. Kind of going back to not trying to over-represent myself as the word of the teachers, but when they talk about meteor, they want effective. They don't want to see a student doing a certain behavior, go to the office, come back with a lollipop, as Principal Price said, and then do the same behavior. That's an ineffective response to whatever that behavior is. They want to see changes in student behavior and improvements in student behavior, and that's what our goal is. But in terms of our suspension numbers, there's no mandate for me telling the principals, don't suspend kids when they violate. It's actually the exact opposite. As we've dealt with disciplinary issues in the past, the student, when they violate Education Code 48900, they do receive a suspension. So I do feel good about those numbers being accurate. They're not us trying to sweep and not address student
I'm not trying to imply that. I'm saying that the incentive structure from the state, to me, supports a process that limits suspension, is what I'm saying.
I feel very comfortable, and I don't know if either principal has to put you on the spot, but when students deserve suspension.
I think the other thing is, like, for example, if I were to look at our behavior laws for the year, a lot of the repeat behaviors are like disrespect, defiance, things like that. Those are things that we don't suspend for. They are not part of, and when my staff talks about meteor, they know that there are some students who want to be suspended, and suspension is not going to change their behavior. They just want to be at home. And so what they want, like Mr. Gergen said, is a consequence that actually is effective and actually gets them to think about their behavior and change their behavior. And that may look different student to student, and I think that's where our staff and admin have the most conversations, because we spend a lot of time with that student having conversations and getting to know them on a different level and trying to figure out like background information that may be causing this behavior. And in the moment when you have 30 kids in front of you, you don't necessarily always get to have those kind of conversations. They just need to be out so other students don't see that level of disrespect or anything like that. So those are the kind of conversations that we're having with teachers, so we can meet somewhere in the middle so they can understand our part of restorative, but we can also understand their part of, I have to teach and I need to move on, and I don't want other students feeling like they can get away with this, so how can you help me? So it's kind of like a meet in the middle.
Okay, that triggers a great question from, at least from my perspective on this, is that, or answers some of it. So suspension is used as in, so you're gone from school. That's the tool that we use. So is there a model or a framework that exists in other places where a student who, because I do agree with the concept that there are students who just want to leave. I fully recognize that point. I have friends who that was their goal, so I totally get that. But the point is, I'm trying to make is that is there a framework where there can be a suspension, but they stay at campus and get, is an alternative room that the board, and by the way, when I'm speaking like this, I'm also saying that the board needs to have a conversation of how to fund some of this stuff. So we've had that robust conversation. We had a 3.5-hour behaviors study session, and the budget was right before where we talked about a lot of this. So I'm asking these questions because as we drill forward on this, what commitment can we make that we all will have to discuss. So is there a practice that you do a suspension and they stay in school and their behavior's addressed, and then it helps relieve the teachers who, don't have the bandwidth, quite frankly, to address it over and over again?
Not to catch up, but or like Dr. Hardman said, keeping them there in that disrespectful mode isn't doing anyone any good. Yeah, so I can talk about both their sides. At Lemoncrest, initially that spot was the office, and what Principal Price and her staff found out was it was kind of a reward because everybody's really nice in the office, and it's kind of an exciting place because you get to hear everything going on and things like that. So what they're moving to more at Lemoncrest is a buddy system where they're actually going to the other sites, and the teachers are committed. When little Andrew Hayes comes to my class, you're not getting a warm smile.
I'm just saying I wouldn't have been the bad one.
You wouldn't have ever been the bad one. I did look up your discipline record, and it was clean. But no, you come to the classroom and there's a spot and you're seated and you're not interacting with your peers and you're doing your reflection activities and your homework activities, and that's what's working at Lemoncrest. At Tierra del Sol, they do have more staff with the assistant principal and the counselor, and so there are opportunities for them to be on a reflective timeout and then get more intense supports right away. And the duration that they're there is really up to the staff in terms of the offense. Like I said, sometimes it does require an out-of-school suspension, so you wouldn't be going back to class. Other times, you'll sit on timeout, you'll do the reflection activity, you'll process it with either the counselor, the assistant principal, the principal, and then figure out what the rest of your day looks like. And obviously including parents in these conversations as well.
Yeah, so that I'll close on this, and I'll let my colleagues ask questions if they have any, but kind of 2 points on this. The first is morale is a big thing for me, from teachers and staff, and also from parents, because I've heard, from teachers' perspective that I've heard, it's really, it's really frustrating when they have to evacuate a class, and then they have to, continue to. And by the way, what I would like to see, just for your knowledge, is I would love to see the difference between this year and last year's evacuations, because that would help us understand if what we're doing is working. I mean, data helps us understand. I mean, So these matrices are fantastic because I think when parents see them, they'll go, okay, this is really clear and concise. I mean, concise, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's very straightforward of what's going on and the options. But morale is important to me because when a class is evacuated, the biggest thing that I think all of us who've heard from parents on this is, we don't know what's going on. They were evacuated 3 times, and what is happening? What is the steps? What are the steps being taken? And I think that I also recognize that there's privacy concerns on both sides. I recognize those points. But I want to just drive the conversation to say, we can say certain things. We can't say everything, but we can say, hey, these are the steps being taken. We're investigating, we're doing these things, we're communicating clearly with parents. And then, of course, teachers would then know they're being supported. Because one of the things that I was shared with in confidence by many teachers was that they don't always feel that there's a full support level. That's not denigrating work, it's that they're just frustrated, right? So I'm just trying to crack through and how we address it going forward. So, you know, if a classroom is evacuated, I want us to think in terms of how are we communicating that with our stakeholders, particularly our parents, so that they know that we're not letting behavior go out the window, and we're not letting, you know, something bad going on, that their kid is going to tell them what happened. And then we're not really saying we're not responding. Like if a kid issues a death threat or something, right? Obviously law enforcement's involved and there's things going on, but showing that the steps are happening and not waiting, I'm not saying we're doing that, but just knowing that there is action being taken helps parents. So that's kind of what I wanted to share in the crux of my closing comment on it. So thank you all for your hard work, and we'll keep it going forward.
Absolutely, and to address, unfortunately, the data piece is anecdotal because we weren't collecting it. That the collection of the data is a new practice for us this year, and so we'll be able to, moving forward, be able to show trends, at the school sites and district. But this year is the first year we've been collecting that data. And again, I just want to stress the commitment of our principals to not only address behavior immediately, but also to be as transparent as possible with the teachers and with the community about what's happening. That's something we're all committed to. And hopefully that continuous transparency, the working together on these policies, all those things will lead us to where that morale is lifted. Because you and I want the same thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I'd like to say these are great, and I think when parents see these, they're going to go, wow, there's a lot of work being done. And I think that's what parents want to see too. So I really appreciate everybody's hard work, and my questions are not driven to the point of criticism, they're driven to the fact as I'm a leader who wants to see change in a system. So
well, the community spoke loud and clear.
They did. That was unanimous on
yeah.
So thank you. Appreciate your work. Thank you.
Other questions? No? Okay. I have one. The training piece is a very important piece for us, and I know we're offering a lot of it. Are they well attended though?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. In fact, at our last training, I try to pop around and 10 different, and there were teachers saying that they had signed up for all behavior because teachers are very reflective about what's going well and what's not going well, and when they don't feel like their classroom management or their response to behaviors they are signing up for those. So I think it's been a packed house in the majority.
They're well attended.
Yeah.
They're very well attended.
Are we just offering them during PD days?
Well, we have the ones that we offer during PD days, and we also have a behavior cohort that is engaging in kind of a long-term, all-year process of deep learning together. We're limited in who we can include in our behavior cohort because of subs. But the benefit of the behavior cohort, I think, is that it is a small, intimate group, and they really can work closely and deeply together. So we'll do another round next year, and we'll just continue to include teachers and work with them. But we're always looking at new and innovative trainings to bring to the district. And every time, a lot of times we're bringing outsiders in, or our own staff are providing PD to their peers, and those, and then Gabby is always doing a session or two on our PD days as well. And our occupational therapists have done professional development. Our student support coordinator has done PD on behavior, so we're coming at it from a variety of different angles, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because I know for me that's the big also piece is just making sure everybody knows, where can I find this information, how do I process it, who do I talk to? Like, it's great when we have, like, we've got the process set, but making sure everybody knows how they work. And going back over it so many times, just till it becomes rote. I think we're making good progress. I think it's something that we're definitely going to continue to be looking at and having updates on, and that accountability piece is not going away. It's going to be updates all the time. So I think we're starting off well. So I appreciate the work so far and continued work we have.
Thank you for the direction.
All right, thank you. All right, so we are going to move into our action items. Our first, we have a discussion regarding the presentation at the last board meeting from Dale Scott regarding the alternative A and B on our refinancing options for the Series A and Series B bonds. The presentation is at the back of your folder if you need to look at it to remind you of anything. Hopefully everybody's looked at it. So really we need to have a discussion because our second item is then going to be whether we're choosing A or B if we so choose. So discussion first on kind of questions. We
Prior
also
to-
have, if we have questions.
I was going to say,
we'll
prior
give
to
answers.
our discussion, I noticed that Dale himself is here. It maybe would be appropriate if he got up and gave us a couple points or thoughts. Hi Dale, good to see you again.
Good evening. That makes it sound ominous.
I love it, it's good to see you.
You know, I'm going to have somebody else besides myself speak. I'm going to introduce Joe up in our office. He's the person who put this presentation together. He's going to be the best person to answer these questions for you. So I can call Joe up and have him answer any of the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you. So I guess the question that I have is, and it's kind of a broad question, so forgive me, is, how many, and you may not know this either, by the way, because it's out of left field, how many other districts have fallen into a scenario like this? And what were some of their questions they may have, what were some of their concerns they may have had, or what were their process or procedures? And you may have no idea, but I'd be just curious to know how many other districts fell into this unique position, because it's an interesting place to be.
Yeah, just to clarify, you're talking about kind of facing two options.
Correct.
Two alternatives, A and B. Yeah, I think it comes up a lot whenever we do a refinancing. There's always different ways to structure that refinancing typically. So if we want to look at the slide, that might be helpful. This slide 8, I think. Yeah, so this one there. So this is alternative A that was mentioned. This is a very straightforward structure, so you can see in the green represents the current outstanding debt, so we're showing the tax rates. And this is all of the district's current bonds. And in blue, it's a little small, but that shows the savings that we project based on a very sort of default, straightforward, proportional savings structure. There's kind of an advantage to this and a disadvantage. So the advantage is you get savings immediately. You start seeing those savings accrue to taxpayers. The disadvantage is there are less overall savings than in the next slide. So if you go to the next slide. So this one, you do have more savings because essentially what's happening is we are structuring the new bonds and paying those off sooner. So we're kind of putting all of the debt service up front. So you can see those last two payments there are gone. So the taxpayers don't see it for a while. That's kind of the disadvantage. The advantage is the savings, the total savings are a lot larger. So one of the things we did, if you can zoom out a little bit, this presentation is a little bit different than what Mark showed last time. So if you look at the kind of toward the bottom of the table, we actually showed two different interest rate dates. Yeah, right there. So just given, the volatility in the market, one of the things we wanted to show you is, how rates have changed. So February 27th, that was right before the war broke out. I think that was around the time Mark came, or I think that was around the interest rate date that he came. Those numbers were based on late February. So that number, we estimate, is 4.5 million. And then fast forward, this is from April 2nd, it goes down to 2.6 million. So, still significant, but reduced. So we just wanted to make that clear. Rates have been volatile. I think they've trended downward since April 2nd, so they're probably better than that second number, but we just wanted to kind of show you this is sort of the range we're looking at. So I hope that answers your question. I know
Yeah, no, that's helpful for me. The other question is, and by the way, I'm not saying that this is what I would advocate for clearly, but I'm just curious. What if we did nothing? What does that do?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I think the disadvantage is if we wait and rates go up, you may lose this opportunity to...
So it doesn't bring any additional cash flow to the district,
there's no effect.
There's nothing, yeah, that's okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's it for my question.
When we choose one or the other, if something is this it, or does another opportunity come up? Like if something goes great with interest rates again, do we have the opportunity to refinance again? Or is this how, I'm new to the bond world,
Yeah, no,
but is it our one time at this, or do we have, if things are great, can we refinance again, 10 years down the road?
Yeah, the answer is probably. So typically, general obligation bonds are structured with a 10-year call provision. So as you probably know, this process is kind of like a mortgage refinancing, except you have to wait 10 years after you issue. So these particular refunding bonds, so the new refunding bonds, would mature in 2045. So we would expect to structure them with a call date in 2036. It's not guaranteed that that will generate savings. I mean, savings could be higher at that, or rates could be higher at that time. But it is a possibility that you would have that option to refinance them 10 years in the future.
What's our current rate?
So on these bonds, it depends on the structure, but I think the average between the two dates, 3.2% for the proportional, about 2.8% for the backloaded savings structure. So somewhere in that range, maybe around 3%.
I mean, just a comment that, I get the mortgage thing, I'm actually going through it right now, so it's always sweating bullets and trying to figure out when you're gonna actually lock in. Unfortunately, we really don't have we're not limber enough to say, today. So we have to make a decision whether or not we get a crystal ball and figure out whether or not it's gonna change. I will say, generally speaking, it's a much different playing field than it was a month ago. And it's not as enticing as it was prior. I mean, the savings aren't substantial. It's basically cut in half. If you look at a month ago compared to today, you're only saving half of what we would have last month.
Yeah, one thing I'll mention is we will be in contact with staff if the expected savings drop to a level that it doesn't make sense to go forward. We could always put it on the shelf, but the board will be giving us authorization to enter the market whenever it does make sense.
So can we?
Can I make one?
Go ahead, yeah.
I just want to make one point, yeah. I think you make a really good point, but I do want to bring up one thing, which is we've focused on the war as a big factor. One thing that really also has driven these interest rates down. It's a little esoteric, but that's the date of April 15th. April 15th is when money, which is when these rates started to be realized. People start pulling money out of bond funds. The bond funds become sellers and not buyers. The rates go up, which are shown here. And then as the months go on, people start saving money again, and they bond funds become buyers. We saw that happen actually today in a pre-pricing, where the savings were actually better at the end of the analysis than they were at the February 27th date of this analysis. So it is very fluid. It is day to day. What you're authorizing is not, we are going to do this. What you're authorizing is, we're going to direct staff to monitor this, figure out if this is the right day, and we'll tell them also, let's just put this on the shelf, or, yeah, let's lock this in now, because you're where you were more close when you first started. Sorry.
No, thank you for that clarification.
Have other districts in the past, if they face this scenario, provided direction that said, if it goes below, the savings don't go below a certain amount, or I mean, go above a certain amount, if you will, that we just don't want you to move forward? I mean,
Yeah.
has that ever been done?
Yeah, I can't remember the example, but I think recently we had one that was, the threshold's kind of subjective, but I want to say it was maybe like 3%, something in that range, where the district gave us direction, if it goes below this amount, then let's just wait. But if rates increase, or if rates decrease and estimated savings increases, then we would be able to enter the market quickly. So in that case, the board did give them approval to issue the refunding bonds, but it's just a matter of whether staff gives the go-ahead if rates allow us to meet that threshold.
Yeah, it's similar to a call sheet on a stock. Like, set a sell price, you set a buy price.
Any other questions? Alright. So that moves us to the action item of approval is requested to select either alternative A or alternative B. A being a right-of-way savings and B pushing out for that higher amount, but that would then be seen for a little while for our community. So that's what I'm looking for is if we have a motion on the floor. For option A. Okay. Is there a second for option, for alternative A?
I'll second for discussion, so we can all discuss.
Great, all right, discussion on that.
Does the motion maker have discussion, or? No?
I'm leaning toward A, but I'd like to hear if anybody else has something compelling to say about it, because I really am pretty naive when it comes to bond stuff, so I wanna.
I mean, my general feeling is that 2041, if that's the date, is an eternity from now. And although I think it's enticing to wait to save more money, I think that given the volatility and just funding and the future and what's going to happen, that waiting that long seems a little odd to me, because I mean, I don't think there'll be anybody in this room that's going to be here. As well as, I mean, that's a whole new world that far out. So I feel personally that we have the ability to realize savings in the near term. I think that's a better scenario than trying to wait 15 years before we realize building those savings.
Yeah, and that goes back to Laura's question earlier. Could we do this again in 10 years? So we might as well, in my mind, get the savings now in the next 10 years in case we do.
Yeah, because we have the option in
Move forward
2036
again,
essentially to revisit, which is before 2041.
All right,
mean, I wanted to make sure we had a discussion.
Oh, no, well, we would always have discussion.
So, but no, I'm good. To me, I lean and have leaned to the immediate savings. I think it's a unique circumstance that we get to offer our constituents an immediate, a savings. That's kind of rare for government. So, I'm certainly supportive of an earlier action. Plus, waiting, to me, we wait and it all changes and nothing happens, and so we missed an opportunity. So to me, I think we should take the opportunity.
And I-
Discussion?
And I agree that we realize those savings now rather than in the future, even though it might be a bit more centralized, so that's my opinion.
Alright, then I will call for a vote. All those in favor of accepting alternative A, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you so much. That will move us to approval as requested resolution number 2026-26, offering the issuance and sale of 2026 refunding general obligation fund series A.
So moved.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Autumn. Any discussion on this item? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and opposed, that passes. Approval is requested of resolution number 2026-27, authorizing the issuance and sale of 2026 refunding general obligation fund series B. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ron. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed, that passes as well. Thank you so much for being here. We really
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
you
thank you
answering
so
all of
much.
our questions on this.
Yes.
And we look forward to continuing to work with you guys.
Thank you. Dale, thank you.
All right, so we are now moving on to our consent agenda. Looking for a motion to designate items to the consent agenda. Thank you, Autumn. Is there a second? Thank you, Ron. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, and opposed. Are there any items that we need to pull?
I'd like to pull 30 and 31, please.
31. I would like to pull 4 and 5. Are there any others? No? All right. With that, I'm looking for a motion to adopt the. Yep. Looking for a motion to adopt the consent agenda minus items 4, 5, 30, and 31. Is there a motion? Thank you, Autumn. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Andrew. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So we will start with item number 4. This is the resolution on our Day of the Teacher on May 6th. I know Andrew spoke about it during his trustee comments, but I just wanted to pull this so that we could just say how much I appreciate. Kind of 4 and 5 are going together for me. All of our staff, our teaching staff, our classified staff, they're just amazing at what they do, and I'm so glad that we get to have the opportunity to recognize them. I know all the schools are doing their staff appreciation week, so I hope everybody gets a chance to go out and visit those and just show them our great appreciation.
We have great staff.
We do. With that, I will make the motion to approve number 4, resolution 2026-22, Day of the Teacher on May 6th. Is there a second for that one?
Second?
Thank you, Andrew. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Great. On number 5, I'll also make a motion to approve resolution 2026-23, designating May 18th to 22nd as classified school employees week. Is there a second on that one?
Second?
Thank you, Andrew. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, no opposed. That moves us on to item number 30, which which is request for RFQ LUSD 2026-1.
I'm just pulling this, I'd like to table this until next month, until, I know there's some legal questions surrounding it. So we have to bring it back next month, but would love to have it tabled for the time being.
So,
I'll make a motion to table it.
thank you.
Also,
All right, thank you very much. Any further discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great, so we will bring that back at the next meeting. And then the other one is board policy and administrative regulation 5020.
Yeah, on this one, so when I was reading through it again, there are some other board policies that I know the policy committee is going to be reviewing. And so I'd like to just table this to go to that discussion, so it's all assessed together, because they're gonna be related. And so I would rather not pass a policy tonight that then we're going to bring back again. So I'd like to just table that to the policy committee until it comes back. And that's my motion.
Sounds good, thank you, Andrew. I will second that. I believe that's a great idea, and is there any further discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, so that moves us on to discussion items. We have an enrollment report in our packet. Did anyone have any questions or comments on the enrollment report? No? All right. Second item, discussion item is the facilities community engagement night that Lisa Davis and Christine Rosado will be hosting on May 19th. They're having community input sessions at 3:45 and 5:30. The discussion is as to how many people are planning, who plans on attending, and how many people, and if I need to agendize this as a special board meeting or not.
On the 19th?
On the 19th, yes.
Well, handy dandy calendar, let's see.
So, I don't know if there's interest in the whole board attending, whether one or two of us want to attend, whether we want to break it up and go 2 and 2, if there is interest in attending.
Well, Hayes is a no-go for that day, but I would be interested, but I'm not saying schedule another one because of me. So there could be feedback provided from whoever goes.
Yes. Okay. Then we're probably good with just not agendizing anything then. What I would say is, if you do plan on attending, just let me know. That way I can make sure that we have no more, that we are 2 or less board members, because otherwise.
Special meeting.
Special board meeting. So.
where is it located?
It will be here, correct? Yeah, here in the boardroom. All right, number 3 is legislative updates. I know we had talked before about talking in policy committee and bringing some forward, but then you missed policy committee due to another conflict, so we have another one coming up next
Tuesday.
week.
So we will review all of that list Tuesday.
Okay. Is there anything else legislatively that anybody else wants to bring up or discuss?
I do think, we can talk about this in policy committee, though, I do think it may be prudent that the board, and depending on the conversations, how they go with the county, it may be prudent for the board to direct the superintendent to send a letter to the Department of Public Works on a couple different items near some of our schools that would be related to traffic, to encourage some further engagement on just some of the concerns that I've been hearing traffic related around our sites. So maybe, so anyway, just kind of throw that on the radar.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, then we will move on to reports to the board. We will start with Carrie Strong.
Good evening. Hello, everybody. I have a few things tonight. I wanted to, first of all, start with thanking our board members who've been able to take the time and chat either formally or informally with our teachers. all the time, but also most recently to hear some of their concerns about special education in our school district. That's really meant a lot to our teachers, and we're hopeful that with your support, we can begin to see improvements that are going to most importantly affect our students and their services, but also the working environment of our staff. As an association, we pride ourselves in our collaborative nature and relationship with our district leaders at all levels, from sites up to the district office. It seems that there are times when our staff feel that they're not being taken seriously, though. Our questions and concerns with aspects of the special education program and department have sometimes been regarded as empty complaints, and staff has attempted to have productive solution-focused conversations with leaders that have been brushed off, and worse, made to feel like their professional concerns are not valid or not even being considered in the situation. I know this is not the working environment that anyone wants to be in, and I know it's not the one that we want to foster in LUSD or allow to go unchecked. It's really important that we take this seriously and we pay attention to our teachers who are experiencing this in their work daily in our district. Our teachers repeatedly put their students' need ahead of their own. We know how much they care. And when we hear numerous staff raising concerns about a program or a department anywhere in our district, I think taking a very serious look at that is the very least thing our leaders can do. So much of what we do is governed by ed code, but the things that are within our control are where we can really make our district shine and grow and stand out and be the amazing piece of our community that we're here to be. So I think that that is something that in these next few months, as we're looking forward into our next year, this is something we want to consider, we want to collaborate with you on, and really make it a priority to make things better for not only our students, but our teachers who are experiencing the differences right now. I also want to join everybody else in thanking our administrative assistants and Rachel and all of the rest of them across our whole district. Our sites, our office support staff are critical. They're the first people that our families and our staff see when we show up to work in the morning. They are very often the first to get there and last to leave when closing up our office, and they're coming in on weekends sometimes to get paperwork done that they can't do when they've got kiddos running around the office and all of the crazy that happens daily on a school site, and we just are so thankful for all of their hard work that often goes unseen. When teachers get their credentials, they tell you two things. You need to make sure that you take care of your custodian and your secretaries. And that is 100% true, and we are grateful for them, and so we just want to join everybody in recognizing them. Also wanted to point out, our staff, of course, is going to be at our rodeo like we are each year. We've got our teachers signed up at all of the snack bars and supporting our Stadium Association, who gives so much back to our students. So thank you. That's all tonight.
I know Dave had said he was hoping to be here, but he is not, so we will move right on to Lisa Davis.
Just a quick update. I had a phone conversation this morning with the County of San Diego on the Woodside project. And so he gave me an update on that. They've revised some of the easement forms, so they'll be sending a person over for me to sign those revisions. And then he's anticipating all the documentation to be done by January 1st of 2027 with actual construction to start June 30th. And they're trying to look at our school schedules so that initial construction won't so much impact specifically LMS and any traffic. He did say that there won't be any road closures, but there will be traffic control and signage. So I'll be speaking with Christine Rosado and Jenny Lopez about just making staff aware that there may be delays in their routes and stuff like that. And the gentleman did express that it'll probably be about an 18-month project that will impact this whole, but they'll be working in sections. So it sounds like they're gonna be starting at that end. So hopefully our LMS won't be too impacted. And he did say that they're gonna look at the start and end times so that they may facilitate some things to start or after school starts and stuff like that, so they'll work with us. So I just wanted to.
Are these the undergrounding of facilities and
Sidewalks.
Well, it's a bunch of things. It's a whole revitalization road project for Woodside.
So the sidewalks are included in that one?
There are parts, yes, I mean, the answer is, because they're doing it in sections, there's some that will have a lot, there's some that'll be different parking, and it's a whole revive that, what was that?
And there'll be bike paths too.
There'll be bike paths and all that stuff.
I wanted to welcome and let the board know that we are fully staffed in our nursing services at the district level after long searches. We want to welcome officially Serena Petula, who's been with us for the last month, and now we have our second district level nurse, Anna Ingram. So we're really excited to welcome both of those folks and welcome them to the tremendous workforce of Lakeside Union. And look forward to celebrating our classified and certificated staff, as we always do, and of course all of our admin assistants. And then a bunch of other stuff I can't talk to you about. Thank you.
All right, Natalie Winsper.
So 2 really quick testing updates. We are so close to being finished with LPAC testing, but we have a few kiddos who we are makeup testing, who weren't there on the day of testing, that we're doing makeups with. We are actually going to pause the last few makeups that we have because we have also started CASP testing this week. So Lemoncrest started this week. Most of our other schools are starting next week. We have about a 5-week window, and we allow our schools to kind of pick when they want to start within that window. As always, we send out a support team for the first week of testing at every school site, just to make sure that we can address any tech issues, any testing system issues on the day, the first few days of testing, when kids might have issues logging in or not having the portal have the supports that they need on it. So those are kind of the 2 big things that we have going on right now, just trying to wrap up testing for the end of the school year, or start and wrap it up.
In addition to tax time and rodeo time, it's also recognition time. So I wanted to start, first of all, Mr. Rose and Lakeside Farm students for their great presentation and the beautiful boardroom artwork. The TDS robotics team is currently in St. Louis competing in the VEX Robotics World Championships. We're very proud of them and wishing them well. Tierra del Sol was recognized as a Green Ribbon School due to their efforts to promote sustainability and health. So congratulations to TDS. They also received the Purple Star Award for their supports for military families. And then this week, actually tomorrow night, we'll be celebrating Francis Mendoza and Erica Garcia at the Bilingual Symposium for their efforts to support students with multiple languages. And then obviously Saturday, honoring our own Student Services Employee of the Year, Dr. Patty Fernandez, and Elementary Principal of the Year, Tessa Green. So a lot of great things going on. It's just all at the same time in rodeo week, but we'll make it happen.
Awesome, thank you. All right, before we move back into closed session, is there anything else that we need to discuss in open session? No? All right, with that, we are going to go back into closed session to finish item number 3, public employee evaluation superintendent.